In Return of the Jedi, after renouncing the dark side and giving his life to save his son, Anakin Skywalker appears as a Force ghost alongside Obi-Wan Kenobi and Master Yoda. This makes it clear that the Chosen One, like his master, has transcended into the cosmic force in a way that very few could, allowing him to live on as an active part of the Force who could interact with the physical realm. But Anakin's appearance in the Ahsoka series, in which he possesses virtually none of the typical characteristics of a Force ghost, seems to suggest that there is something even more unique about Anakin's presence in the Force. He is a Force ghost, but he also appears to be more than that, and in this video I will explain what I think could have happened to Anakin Skywalker after Return of the Jedi. Before we get into that though, I'd like to acknowledge that the SAG-AFTRA strike is still going on. The union has yet to reach an agreement with the big companies on the use of AI and on providing fair wages for the writers and actors who bring shows like Ahsoka to life, and I want to let it be known that I do stand with those on strike, and I think it's important that we continue to talk about this issue until it is resolved. Without the hard work of the writers and actors who are currently on strike, the shows and movies we love simply would not exist. Now, with that being said, let's talk about Anakin. In the Ahsoka series, Anakin Skywalker stands before his padawan and looks almost exactly like he did before his fall to the dark side in Revenge of the Sith. He has no blue silhouette, no physical transparency that allows us to see through him, and he has a lightsaber on his belt. These are not things we typically see from Force ghosts, including Anakin when we saw him at the end of Return of the Jedi, and there are two potential explanations for this that come to mind for me. Assuming that this wasn't all just a vision or a hallucination on the part of Ahsoka, which I don't think it was, the first and most obvious explanation is that the world between worlds allows Force ghosts to appear this way. Anakin appears in solid form because this mysterious realm in the Force exists between space and time and serves as sort of a middle ground between the real world and the netherworld. And honestly, I think that's our most probable answer. But there is another potential reason that places Anakin Skywalker on a pedestal, making him even more powerful than other Force ghosts we are familiar with, because rather than being a Force ghost alone, Anakin is now a Force god. Now, I know that might sound ridiculous, and perhaps it is, but stay with me for a little while. As we saw in Star Wars Rebels, a mural of the Mortis gods is painted on the entrance to the World Between Worlds on Lothal, which implies that the gods are tied to the World Between Worlds in some way. And in the Clone Wars, when Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka ventured to Mortis, the father tested Anakin to see if he was truly the Chosen One, and Anakin passed the test, conquering both the son and the daughter and proving the Chosen One prophecy to be true. From this point forward, the father holds Anakin in very high regard. When questioned by Anakin about his identity, the father states, "You have a very simple view of the universe. I am neither Sith nor Jedi. I am much more, and so are you." This is a profound statement from the father, as the Mortis gods are powerful and mysterious beings with deep connections to the Force, and the father comes to view Anakin as a figure more powerful than any of them. With that in mind, I think it is possible that after renouncing the dark side, restoring balance to the Force, and transcending into the cosmic Force, Anakin Skywalker, now a master of both the light and the dark, the Chosen One fully realized, has become something we have never seen before. This is why he's able to appear as a real person. This is why he can shift his image from Vader to Anakin, and why he can have a physical lightsaber duel with Ahsoka. Now, if this were true, I still think the fact that Anakin was in the World Between Worlds played a role here. There was another time that Anakin appeared to Luke Skywalker back in the physical realm after this interaction with Ahsoka, and he was more of a typical Force ghost once again. But even then, something very atypical was going on with Anakin. I have a video that delves deeper into this, but long story short, Luke was using the Seeing Stone on Tython to transfer a part of his consciousness to Exegol, sort of like he did to get to Crate in The Last Jedi. But at this point, Luke doesn't know how to get back to Tython, and he almost gets stuck there, and we don't really know what would have happened with him from there, but Anakin steps in and he brings Luke back. And as the two of them speak to one another afterward, the ghost of Anakin Skywalker struggles to communicate with his son, displaying great pain and agony before eventually disappearing. And this suggests two things. One, like I said, the World Between Worlds probably adds to Anakin's capabilities. And two, the Force actually restricts Force ghosts from going too far and trying to influence things going on in the mortal realm. Anakin tries to warn his son about what is happening on Exegol, but it seems to me that the Force won't allow him to reveal the whole truth. So while Anakin may be more powerful and influential than a typical Force ghost, even he is not free of limitations. He can teach lessons, he may even be able to save people's lives under certain circumstances, as he may have done with Ahsoka, but he cannot fight other people's battles for them. At the end of the day, this is what I believe about Anakin in the Ahsoka series. He is a Force ghost, but I think the episode goes out of its way to suggest that maybe he's also something more than that. I do think the primary reason Anakin was able to do what he did was because they were in the world between worlds. Obviously, he could not change environments and walk Ahsoka through history if they were not in that place specifically, but something else about Anakin just feels very unique in this episode, and given his history with the Mortis gods and the fact that he is the chosen one, I think it's possible that we could come to learn that Anakin remains a little different than his contemporaries even within the Netherworld. Now, obviously they could leave it at that and we could never see the Force ghost of Anakin again, and if that were the case, my best guess would simply be that Anakin Skywalker was a Force ghost, and the fact that he and Ahsoka were in the world between worlds together for this interaction is the answer to all these questions. The Mortis gods don't really have anything to do with this, and that's certainly possible, but I think the theory that Anakin is more than just a Force ghost is worth entertaining. But that is going to wrap things up for me in this video, so let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to drop a like to support the channel, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and remember, the Force will be with you always.